Hey there, welcome to RnG Let's Talk Pokemon Go with your hosts Matt and Craig.
I'm Matt.
And here I'm Craig. Welcome to our little webcast. We thought we would come together and discuss some Pokemon Go interesting things at the time. Just topics of interest that we find fun to talk about amongst ourselves. So this week we decided to lead it off with Let's Talk Ferocious Cup. It's the middle of November. This is... What do you guys... Let's hear it. Ferocious. Oh yeah, just so much ferocious. So I included Silph's official list over here that has all of the eligible Pokemon. Now we're not going to go through the whole list because we'll be honest that it's like 120 and about 100 are completely irrelevant. They're just there as filler. We're being honest here.
Things like Tata and Bidoof on there, and you're not going to be using those unless you just want to lose.
Yeah, I'm gonna run my solid Rattata and a Meowth, maybe just a Growlithe. These are all eligible. Ampharos. I don't understand how there was a specific rule included that says non-humanoids. What is Ampharos exactly?
It does look kind of humanoid. I know a lot of people were using Lucario too, or trying to, because they said 2 feet and a tail, which I guess fits that. But
I mean, we're going to get into that later. You know how I feel about that topic, sir, and we're going to get into that later for sure. We're going to close out the program with that today. So I'm just going down that list. Stoutland, I love seeing them. I love the puppies, but not particularly relevant here. Yeah, like I said, there's probably about 10 there that you could really count on for this cup, and then the rest are not so relevant. But
down to about 10.
About 10, give or take. But up here you can see the simplified meta, and that breaks it down. It's pretty straightforward what we're working with here. So the number one player that really comes into it, just from its sheer bulk, not much of an attack stat, but in PvP we don't need that. We don't want that because that means a lot of CP, and we want that. Matt can explain it the best. He's a better expert on Umbreons, I'm going to be honest right now.
I mean,
he had a good day.
I can't really speak to it too much. I'm still trying it out. I refuse to do one without Last Resort, and my wife gave me one, so.
Oh, deliver. The test delivers.
Yeah.
So, obviously, not shiny, but we're going to bring up Umbreon first. And it's pretty straightforward, and even without Last Resort on it, it is still a solid player in this meta. It's just a tank, and
Yeah, the thing is it can take different hits from pretty much anything. If you put a good barrel on it, it's going to take about 2.5 surfs. Still going to get chunked by the water gun, but if it's the last Pokemon and you don't have any shields, it's going to win most of those matchups.
I mean, with Snarl and Foul Play, it gets solid DPS off against whatever you're going against. I mean, in the mirror, obviously, you want the Last Resort just because you get the neutral damage from it, and that helps you win that mirror matchup. But outside of that, you're going to be using Foul Play every time because you are going to get to it with Snarl faster than you'll get to Last Resort. Last Resort, people don't seem to grasp that. You still want it regardless of not having Last Resort in this meta.
Yeah, Last Resort definitely helps it, especially in the mirror. I just actually did it with a friend. And we did the mirror, and I came out with about 30 HP, which is a lot because you could still get off another Foul Play or something.
Yeah, with the resistance it has to its own dark typing, it really helped. I mean, dark is a tough type to work with. It has limited weakness. In this cup, we don't have any really major counter users, at least nothing that's really relevant with it. So there is a major player that's a counter to Umbreon in this cup that basically just eats it for dinner. Usually has leftovers for lunch tomorrow, in all honesty, for whatever comes after the Umbreon. And that would be she's beautiful. Alola Ninetales.
So because of Charm, which just chunks things.
Just anything that doesn't resist it.
Yeah, you're not going to expect to get too many charge moves off, so it doesn't do a lot of shield pressure on it, but it's going to sit there and just attack at it and knock it down. As long as you use a shield or two, not against Umbreon, anything else, you're going to do some decent damage to pretty much anything.
it holds its own against the other major players, against the water types and that. I mean, it's not going to get totally wrecked by them, but it's just going to do that standard damage with Charm.
Even if a Beaverell is going to hit some water damage to it with the water gun, but it's going to chunk it down so much that it's going to put the shield pressure on them. And
you wanna have it there for how strong its matchup is against Umbreon, because you don't even need to touch shields. You can just eat on it, just build that energy up, and then when you need it to hit off, either obviously you want Psyshock and Ice Beam, whichever one. Ice Beam covers you for the Nitto matchup, and then Psy Beam for the other ones.
Doesn't hit it as hard. It all depends, and it takes a lot longer to get to the Ice Beam than it does the Psyshock. So
yeah, Charm doesn't particularly build energy very well at all. So, but from there, you obviously have to look for. We're going to obviously have to go on to the water types, because another stipulation of this cup was that they banned grass types, and that's unfortunate because grass types would have really been a counter to some of these water types. So this is the cup that we got a chance to actually bring out good old Suicune. It finally has its day.
Suicune is good. It's almost as tanky as Umbreon, so it's definitely, like we were talking earlier, a good lead. The only thing that is negative about it, if it's only hitting off bubble beams, yeah, you're lowering the attack stat, but it doesn't do a whole lot of damage.
It only can lower it so far, and it's still going to get that damage in for it. So,
but if you can hit off Hydro Pump on it, if you're going to buy the second move, which we know so many people are dust poor.
The dust poor.
But that Hydro Pump would do any kind of damage.
If you want to use it in the meta, right now in this cup, if you want to use it the right way, you have to have Hydro Pump, because you're not going to get, and you can't have Ice Beam isn't going to do it either. You need Hydro Pump to just get out a raw chunk of damage. Snarl gets you there quick. You just need to hit that Hydro Pump on it. So obviously that's important. The next water type we're going to bring up, obviously he's big deal. Finally,
my favorite.
The greatest beaver known to man.
It's probably my favorite Pokemon in this.
Obviously, we know the god status of its base form. Anybody who knows Pokemon knows that.
The water gun is just, it does so much.
It's so consistent. It's just such a consistent move on anything you use it on. I mean, the other one that you just can't go without it is Lantern. Like if you're running, obviously not in this cup at all, sorry to go off topic, but I mean, it's just such a consistent move, and it just really gets you where you need to be. Mudshot, I like Mudshot better, but obviously that comes in from not relevant in this cup either, unfortunately.
But it gains it fast enough that like you're going to get off Surf.
Yep, you get off Surf is just also a great move. Good damage for lower energy.
In the mirror with Beaverell, you want to hit the Hyper Fang, and if you land the Hyper Fang, you're almost going to win that matchup every single time.
Oh yeah, Hyper Fang's always been deadly. It's always been deadly. It was deadly with the rats in Gen 1 back in the day. Once you got Hyper Fang on your rat, it was running stuff.
Some people are even running it with Hyper Beam. That takes a little bit more energy, but man, if you could hit Hyper Beam, you're going to.
You can use it more as a closer if you want to go with that. Hyper Beam's it's a solid closing move, but still, Water Gun's fast, but is it really that fast? So obviously that, but everybody knows we know how great he is in this cup. He's just consistent. Yep. The next one we're going to talk about, we're going to stay on the water types, is Vaporeon.
Now, a lot of people are running Vaporeon and Beaverell. Maybe not so much now, but that was a big thing. Running double waters and Vaporeon is similar.
I mean, they're just consistent. And there isn't many counters to them to work with here. So the major counter, and we're not even going to get much into discussing it because it's a touchy subject, is Lanoon for these water types, because it just does not do very well with Shadow Claw when you run into like an Umbreon. So people worry about that. But I'm going to tell you what, when you run into these water types, Lanoon's your man.
It is.
Lanoon really will be something to cover the water types. I'm not saying I'm personally not running 3 of them. I'm running 2. Let it be known, I'm not going to be a punk running 3 water types. I've hated Vaporeon since the original days of Pokemon Go, when every Mystic Gym had 7 of them in there, 10 Pokemon and 7 were Vaporeon. That was great. I love Vaporeon. Everybody was like, "Why are you building a Venusaur? What else am I going to fight all the Vaporeon with?" You know?
I think it's more important to counter. I think it's more important to have, which we'll get into, a couple more anti-charmers than it is to have a lot more waters. If you want to run 2 waters, that's not a bad idea. But I don't know how much overkill it is to have 2 water counters. Maybe if you're going to run a Bibarel and a Suicune, or a Vaporeon and a Suicune, it seems like a decent idea. But I mean, it
just kind of comes up to whichever you feel more comfortable with, whichever you're ready to, whichever you want to work a strategy around getting coverage. And in this meta, tanking is part of it. It's bringing in something that you need to be prepared to tank with, and that's where Bibarel really shines in this meta. Suicune also is real tanky, and Snarl's just it's just a great move. So when you get into that, we just mentioned anti-charmers in this cup, because you want to. Umbreon just gets wrecked so bad by Alolan Ninetales, and Alolan Ninetales with Charm is just it's got a great attack stat. Little fragile, but great attack stat.
You totally have to check it 100%. I run it with, I think, 5 more anti-charmers than I have anything on my team that I run, but like my favorite is Needham.
Yep, we're gonna go in.
It just hits it.
It's a poison jab's quick, good damage. Energy gain is pretty good. Not like top tier, but it's right up there. It's a good solid move in that matchup. In the mirror, it's not so nice. In the mirror, it's not ideal, but you run. Yeah. You got something that waiting there, something coming, and that earth power comes in really hard.
In the mirror, it all depends on who's going to hit off the earth power on the other one. Whoever lets it go through, they're going to lose.
Pretty much. And then we had this discussion earlier, actually. I am all for running Stone Edge as your second move on your Nidoqueen. Poison Jab, Earth Power, and Stone Edge. And you were on the grounds of using Earthquake.
I think Earthquake, the reason is because I look at it as more of the Umbreon counter. You're going to do a little bit more with the stab on the Earthquake if you can get them off. Then you're just going to do more damage on the Umbreon. The Stone Edge is definitely for the Alolan Ninetales. So
which you can almost you can hit like 80%. I think that's about 70% damage on Alolan Ninetales with an unshielded Stone Edge. I mean, it's pretty much a kill shot.
2 poison jab done, so it's totally
it hits real solid damage with that Stone Edge, with the rock type hitting the ice type. So you, I know, have this fascination with this other eligible Pokemon in this cup, and I wanted to bring it up so you could talk about it, because we have talked about it. So please feel free to speak on it. And that would be Cantonian Ninetales.
I love Kanto Ninetales. I've loved it from the beginning, mostly because Tess, my wife, loves it, and I found a really good one for PvP, so I just started using it. I don't have a flamethrower, which might be a little bit better, but for this cup, it has Psyshock, and it hits its counters decent.
It hits its Alolan self real well.
It is weak to water, but, and I believe most people that are probably watching this know, I actually hit a solar beam on his whenever he had it, so it has a solar beam too that can catch the water. Now you can't really.
We like to call that a Hail Mary.
Yeah, that was a total Hail Mary, but it was you can't really.
There's really nothing better than winning by a Hail Mary.
Because it farms. If you can land it on a Alolan Ninetales, its counterpart, its cousin, it's going to farm it up, and you're going to have at least 2 Psyshocks left over if you get it locked in, and then if you can hit the solar beam afterwards, you'll definitely have that. You don't have to use any shields; it just goes through. It's definitely, I like it. I mean, there are times where I'm like, maybe I don't need it on my team, but I'm always like,
don't go in. You need to understand where it's going to shine and where it's going to struggle. Yeah. When you go in, don't go in willy nilly with it. Like Matt said, it's great. Like, understand you need to be. Matt knows when to use it, good matchups for it, so you need to be aware of that.
not lead with it ever.
Do not. It is not a lead. Of our list so far, we're going to have to say that Suicune. I mean, we use PV Poke as for our reliable source on a lot of our PvP stuff. We use. They're really great, and it's still got like top overall in this cup. They give to Umbreon, but top lead is still Suicune. It's consistent. There's not many things to counter it.
Nidoqueen's a good lead, but I mean, you also have to worry about the water because there's a lot of people that are leading water. Like
it's easy to lead with water. It's just easy to lead with water in this cup because it's what's the worst case of really pretty much that'll happen. You run into other water types and you can't get through them. So
most of the time you can beat another water. Depending on shields, and Lanu's probably your worst one. You could even beat Lanu as long as you don't get a grass knot to the face.
So it has become time for us to discuss. Okay, we're gonna drop this. Okay, time. We've both had a Pokemon in this cup that we're particularly unhappy about not being included. Why it's been banned, we'll say. And me personally, I'm a fan of. I wasn't happy with this cup because you were forced to kind of build a lot of things that you didn't build before in previous cups, and it's like these are all B team players that we're building just for this specific cup. And my thing is A team player. I mean, how can you disagree with Azumarill? I mean, this is an A team. We've all have an Azumarill if we PvP. Why is he not included here? Or she? Why is it? I don't understand the restriction of it not being here. I mean, it's a bunny. It's a two-legged with a tail. Why aren't we allowed to use our Azumarills? Pretty sure it would just wreck this entire meta because it will tank Umbreon, it will tank Suicune, it'll tank all of those because you can just throw Play Rough and walk through them with Hydro Pump on the back end.
Right.
So that's there. Matt right here. Matt's particular disappointment in this cup would have to be Zweilous.
Well, I found it one that hits 1500 exactly pretty early on.
Oh, you're biased. You're biased. You have a good PvP one.
Truly used it gets destroyed by Charm. So like.
Oh, I mean, Charm hits double effective on it. It just, you gotta watch out. But against anything but Alola Ninetales in this cup, it would have really done phenomenal. It can out-tank Umbreon. It has Body Slam, which is, it has Dragon Breath, which would have hit neutral, and then it's got Body Slam, which hits neutral. It would have done just a really great job against Umbreon. So,
there aren't a whole lot of fighters, which it is.
There's no fighters really. The only thing you can see up in our chart in the middle there, that pulled from Silph, is the only counter user you can really find on there is Donphan, and he gets wrecked by all those water types that we've been talking about. Then you got Alola Marowak is also up there, and we both have a mutual friend that loves his Alola Marowak, and he's really pushing to use it. And against Alola Ninetales, it wrecks, but against Bibarel or pretty much Suicune because of the dark against Ghost, which we'll eventually get more into those typings. We have big plans for that. So
I can appreciate the Alola Marowak love because it's so common and sinister, which it's a good Pokemon. It's like
just a very consistent Pokemon.
It's consistent. It just got Fire Spin, which I think is a really
it literally moved it top tier Ghost. It's or not Ghost, but Fire type. Fire type in Great League, it's like top tier.
This meta is covered in normal, water, ground, and those are in dark.
It's got the dark and fairy just snuck in there at the top as the top tier too because Umbreon's that good.
Those are the main weaknesses for Alola and Marowak. So it does really well.
Okay, we gotta bring up one more we forgot about. I know it's also a big fan. It's something you're a big fan, and that would be good old Pepe Le Pew, Skuntank. We didn't talk Skuntank at all.
Yeah, it's to me it's the best generalist. I mean, it gets hit by ground. If you shield it right, it's gonna do really well against Alola and Ninetales. It still gets hit. It
actually, with its poison move set, can out tank Umbreon. It will win that matchup against Umbreon. I think will it win the last resort matchup against Umbreon?
It depends on the shields, but it can definitely do it in the one to.
If you have any shield advantage, it could, but
Yeah, if you have any shield advantage, you're definitely going to win it. And if they just happen to let one out, because a lot of times, in my experience, Umbreon users are cocky and they're like, "Oh, I can handle this," and then they get 2 sludge bombs to the face, and like, "Oh wait, maybe I can't."
it doesn't resist that sludge bomb. It wrecks it. So
don't hit it with crunch, because if you hit it with crunch,
yeah, you don't want to be running crunch. It's going to resist it, and you're just going to be wasting your energy on that. So
go straight for sludge bomb. And the,
been real great talking to you guys, telling you some things, telling you our points of view on this subject. We look forward to talking about many more subjects coming up.
We'll be back.
So this is Craig and my buddy over here, other side. That side. I don't know. All right, man. You guys, it was great talking to you. Have a good night. Thank you.